I'm back with Susi Oddball, and this is part 6, and she's going to talk about her life as a juggler. Go ahead, Susi.
Right, 1984 it was when we set up the shop, the Oddball shop. But we had a few little adventures before that. We were actually in our own home and in our bedroom when the very first time we set up shop there. We had 20 Italian clowns come along to buy equipment. So that was, you can imagine.
What, they couldn't get equipment in Italy?
No, there was a lot of places you couldn't get equipment.
Really?
So, and they chose Oddballs to come and get equipment.
Okay. And what were you selling them apart from
juggling clubs,
yes,
balls, Diablos. We were manufacturing.
Diablos. Now I know all about Diablos because I used to have a Diablo client in Paris.
Oh right.
Victorian Diablos.
Well, we manufactured our own Diablos, which we used for workshops all around the world.
Right.
And there was a Swiss Diablo company.
Okay.
But ours was a lot. It was rubber, ours, and they were a lot more cheaper for workshops.
And where did Diablo start?
Diablo started in Mongolia, or so they say.
Right.
And it was from the Mongolian horseback who used to use it as a weapon for, not so much a weapon, but as target practice for birds to hunt. And so Mongolian horsemen used to use the Diablo then, back in those days, to hunt birds, to fell birds.
But Diablo means devil in Italian.
Yeah.
How did they get that name?
Most of the juggling equipment that has things like bright colours in it, and that's called Diablos, are there to ward off evil spirits too. Mm-hmm. And Diablos were no exception. In China, they were built of bamboo and they whistled. And I don't know what the Mongolian horsemen were. They're probably very heavy wood.
Oh, well, my client was French.
Yes.
But he was a circus collector as well.
Yeah, we had, in the Victorian time, there was Diablos, which was a craze in the Victorian times in the UK. And I should imagine elsewhere too, in the aristocracy. Because you had to have things to play with. But I remember this guy doing his thesis, Todd Strong, and he wrote this book, and that was one of the things he said. It originated from the Mongolian horsemen.
Okay, and you can do Diablo?
Oh, yeah, I do it a bit. I'm not... nowadays, they can do 4 or even 5 Diablos. I've seen people from Taiwan and doing 5 Diablos. Incredible. And when I go to European Juggling Convention next week in Poland, I will see this again. And to my amazement, how many balls people juggle now, how many clubs. So in my day...
How many balls do people juggle?
I'm not sure what the actual record is now. It's beyond me now. But it's more than 11.
Whoa!
I know. But I'd like to go back to the time when there was no clubs here. And my clubs had broken.
You said...
And I think that was a motivation later to make juggling equipment.
You said the
and I remember going on television...
Yeah.
And I had to go with my son, who had to tell people in the children's programme how they could make their own juggling clubs out of washing up liquid bottles and doweling. And they were quite well balanced, actually.
So they must have been very light.
They were, and what you did is you put knobs on the end and you made a balance to them. But when we manufactured all over the world.
Good heavens.
And
you didn't have any competition?
Oh yes, there's always competition. You know, you're not going to get away with competition, but if you make a good enough product, people are going to buy it. And if it's a reasonable price, people are going to buy it. Obviously, I told you at the very beginning, my clubs broke, my very first set of
the
clubs.
The American ones.
And yet that was a good, reputable company.
And
we
how
never
much...
did return those. So I'd liked them at one point.
A bit late in the day now.
He knows about it.
And he never sent you a replacement?
He didn't. Sometimes some of the jugglers who were manufacturers and stuff, they were a little bit into their manufacturing and forgetting about the actual
juggler.
sending things.
And
mail
how
order
much
and
did
stuff.
they charge?
They cost more then than they ever did now.
How much did they charge then?
Over £100
For how
where-
many clubs?
for 3 clubs. And nowadays you can get a club for £6.
What, for 3?
No, for 1 club for £6.
For one?
It's incredible the difference in price.
Be-
And you know,
Yeah,
they're
but are they made
manufactured
in
everywhere.
China or India or somewhere?
Some clubs are made in China, some are made in England, some are made in Switzerland,
Oh.
some are made in Australia. They're variable. You know, if you've got a mould, you can make it. If you've got someone, a plastic company, to make them for you. So we did quite a lot of manufacturing, and then we merged because we wanted to go to Canada. So we merged in with a company who saw my Auntie Mary's balls, and we started to make logo balls.
Oh,
Bean
that's
bags.
clever, yeah.
And
yeah.
the logo company that we did it for was a aeroplane company.
Right.
I'm just trying to think of their name. British Airways, I think it was. And we had to make them in their colours. And my Aunt Mary did that by hand.
Wow.
She sewed up everything. And there was a company who liked this and thought, oh, we can make lots of money on this. So they ended up making quite a bit of money. And then they merged in with us, really, because we went to Canada and we needed someone to look after our shops. We had a stipulation of how they should look after our shops.
No, you still have the shop, of course.
We still had the shops, but they were merged with this other company.
Oh.
And they took over for a while, and we were away for about 2 years.
And then?
we kept on getting letters saying, come back, your shops aren't looking like they should be. So we came back and demerged.
And demerged.
And ran our shops again, and we made them bigger and looked in a different way at things. But very soon after that, after having Lucy about 1992, a few more years later, and my mother got Alzheimer's, so I spent a lot of time in London, and I think that my partnership with Max downgraded itself.
Oh dear.
Because we weren't having a lot of time together.
Yes.
And we were running a business, we were running a family. It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah. And you had to...
So I was swapped for a younger model at the time.
Oh dear, oh dear.
So I decided to take my children and come to Brighton.
He didn't want the children?
Oh yeah, he did, but he wasn't going to get them. He's the one who swapped for a younger model.
Right.
So I kept the children, and
you
I
had
thought
four
also the
children.
I had 4 children, and I felt the children needed to be in a different place.
Yes.
We were living in a very small place in Essex.
Yes.
It was a little bit insular, and after the very fact that we had all travelled and we lived in an RV in Canada, and I'm going to come up to my time before I go to Brighton. I'm going to talk about Canada. Okay?
Yeah,
So-
but not on this...
no, that would be part 7.
Yes.
Okay. But I would like to say it was the best move I ever made. I love Brighton.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful place.
Of course, it certainly
And
is.
it was great culturally for my children. Because where we were
So
living...
you arrived, what year?
There was only
in-
one African man who I used to meet on the bus, because I used to commute down to London to look after our shops. So I used to be on what was called the Misery Railway line, the Misery line.
What year are we talking about, Susi?
That was the shops were formed in 1984, but this was like 1989. We moved to Essex.
No. What
From
year
London.
did you come to Brighton?
1998.
1998. Okay. Well,
1989 is when we moved to Essex.
yes.
And that was because it was closer to Holland, where we could go and get our unicycles
Right.
from Utrecht, from a
Right.
man called Sam Abrahams.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't Sam, it was Carlos, his dad.
Right.
Sam was actually an amazing performer with his wife, and they used to perform in Monte Carlo.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it was brilliant. We met so many different people in our time.
Well, we'll have to hear more about that in the next episode. Okay.
Yep.
Bye, Susie.
Bye-bye for now.